Your child looks at dinner and says, "I don't like this." So you negotiate. Just 3 bites for dessert. You bargain. Try the chicken at least. Or, exhausted, you make mac and cheese instead. And as you're standing there cooking a second meal, you feel it. That familiar mix of frustration and defeat. But here's what you don't realize. Every single one of those responses is accidentally teaching your child to refuse food. In France, parents follow one simple rule with 2 hidden pillars that stops the battles completely. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use it. But first, you need to understand why your current approach isn't working. Let's talk about the 3 mistakes you're probably making right now without even realizing it. Mistake 1. Backup meals. When your child refuses dinner and you cook something else, you've just taught them something powerful. If I refuse hard enough, I get what I want. Mistake 2. Pressure. Just one more bite, please. Every time you say this, you activate what researchers call the control paradox. The more you push, the harder they resist. Mistake 3. Constant grazing. The crackers at 4 p.m., the granola bar in the car, the juice box while they're playing. These seem harmless. But here's what you're actually doing. You're removing the one ingredient that makes children willing to try new foods. Hunger. So what do French parents do differently? They follow one rule with 2 supporting pillars. But before I show you how it works, you need to understand the biology behind picky eating. Because once you understand what's happening in your child's brain, everything makes sense. Here's what's actually happening inside your child's brain when they refuse food. First, neophobia. That's the scientific term for fear of new foods. Your child isn't being difficult. They're being developmentally normal. Their brain is hardwired to be cautious about unfamiliar foods. It's a survival mechanism. Think about your own life. When you try a new restaurant with unfamiliar cuisine, don't you feel slightly hesitant? Your child feels that times 10. Second, the control paradox. Imagine your spouse standing over you at dinner saying, "Come on, honey, just 3 more bites of salad." You'd want to throw the plate, right? Your toddler feels exactly the same way. When you pressure them to eat, even gentle pressure, their brain perceives it as a loss of autonomy. And humans resist control. Studies show that when parents use pressure tactics, children actually eat less of the food, not more. Third, the appetite cycle. Have you noticed that when you're genuinely hungry, not boredom snacking, but truly hungry, even plain foods taste amazing? That's the appetite cycle. And your child has lost access to it. Most children never experience real hunger at mealtimes because we've been taught that hunger is dangerous, that we need to prevent it at all costs. French parents understand something different. They let their children get appropriately hungry before meals, not starving, not deprived, genuinely, naturally hungry. Because mild hunger before meals isn't neglect, it's structure. And it's the biological key that unlocks everything else. Okay, here's the French rule. And there are actually 3 parts. Most people only know the first one. The rule is called le menu unique. One family, one meal. Part 1, one menu. In France, there is one dinner menu. The parent decides what's served. No alternate meals, no backup options, no negotiations. Now, before this sounds harsh, let me explain why it's actually the kindest approach. This isn't authoritarian, it's structural. The parent's job: decide what, when, and where food is served. The child's job: decide whether and how much to eat. This is the golden rule of feeding dynamics. You provide, they decide. You're not forcing them to swallow a full portion, you're just not short order cooking. But that's not the secret. Part 2, the mandatory taste. French children aren't forced to eat everything on their plate. They're not forced to finish anything, but they are required to taste it. Just one polite taste. Every time. And here's the language that matters. You don't have to like it. You do have to taste it so your tongue learns. How do you enforce this without it becoming a battle? You use sensory talk. When your child tastes something new, ask, is it crunchy or soft? Is it salty or sweet? What does it smell like? This does something brilliant. It shifts focus from whether they're eating to what the food is like. It turns tasting into curiosity instead of compliance. French parents see this as palate training, like teaching your child to read. You wouldn't skip reading lessons because they're hard. Same logic applies to food, a tiny taste. And for fearful children, even smelling the food or touching it to their lips counts. No pressure to swallow, no judgment, just exposure. Because here's what research shows. Children need 8 to 15 exposures to a new food before they accept it. Most American parents give up after 3 tries. And for most families, these 2 parts alone create significant improvement. But if you want this to work consistently, day after day, there's a third element that's absolutely non-negotiable. Part 3. The 2-hour hunger window. This is the invisible requirement, the piece that makes everything else work. Without this, the other 2 rules will fail every single time. French children don't graze. They have structured meal times and 1 snack time, usually around 4 p.m. A small snack, maybe fruit and bread. But then nothing except water until dinner. No crackers at 5 o'clock. No juice boxes at 5:30. No, just a little something. If your child ate chips an hour before dinner, this system will fail no matter how perfectly you follow the other rules, because they're not hungry. And without hunger, there's no biological incentive to try the green beans. You need a 2 to 3 hour hunger window before dinner. This isn't starvation. This isn't deprivation. This is allowing their natural appetite to build so that when they sit down, their body is actually ready to eat. And that's when everything shifts. When a child arrives at the table genuinely hungry, something changes. Their resistance softens. Their natural curiosity kicks in. Their brain becomes more open to trying new foods. Hunger is the missing ingredient. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. Step 1. Serve 1 balanced meal. Include variety, protein, vegetables, a carb. But make sure there's at least 1 safe food on the table. Something you know they'll eat without a fight, like bread or fruit. This ensures your child always has something to fill up on, which lowers your anxiety and theirs. Step 2. Require a polite taste. Use the language. You don't have to like it. You do have to taste it so your tongue learns. Step 3. After they taste, they decide. Let them choose what else to eat from what's on the table. You don't hover. You don't count bites. Step 4. Maintain the schedule. If they don't eat much, the next meal comes at the next scheduled time. No emergency snacks. Step 5. Don't comment on what or how much they eat. Here's the exact conversation. Your child sits down, sees green beans, immediately says, "I don't like green beans." You respond calmly. You don't have to like them. You do have to taste them. Just 1 taste so your tongue learns. They hesitate. You wait. No pressure. No hovering. Finally, they take a tiny bite. They make a face. Maybe a dramatic gagging sound. You stay completely calm. You lean in with curiosity. Okay, so what did you notice? Was it crunchy or soft? They pause, thinking. Soft and squishy. Interesting. Soft and squishy. Thank you for tasting. Now, what else would you like from the table? They eat the chicken and rice. They don't touch the green beans again. And that right there, that's a win. Because they tasted them. That's exposure number 1. Next time you serve green beans, they'll be slightly more familiar. By the 8th time, they might eat 2 bites. By the 15th, they might actually like them. This is the long game. As you're thinking about implementing this, 3 questions probably just popped into your head. Question 1. What if my child doesn't eat anything at dinner? If your child arrives genuinely hungry and there's at least 1 safe food available, they will eat something. Children have incredibly strong survival instincts. Their bodies won't let them starve when food is available. They might not eat much. They might not eat what you hoped, but they will eat. If they refuse everything, you stay calm. You say, okay, you don't have to eat. But this is what we're having. The kitchen closes after dinner. Breakfast is at 7 a.m. Then you follow through. One missed meal does not harm a typically developing, healthy, hydrated child. What harms them is learning that refusing food gets them special treatment. They'll be hungry, and they'll eat breakfast. Question 2. What if they have extreme picky eating? If your child has a diagnosed feeding disorder, sensory processing issues, or severe food aversion, you need specialized support. This approach is for typically developing children with common picky eating, but here's what I've seen. Most children don't have a disorder. They have a pattern that's been accidentally reinforced, and patterns can be changed. Question 3. What if they refuse the mandatory taste? This is where you hold the boundary gently but firmly. You're not forcing volume. You're not demanding they finish, just one taste. If they refuse, you stay calm. You simply say, in our family, we taste everything once. Take your time. Then you eat your own meal. You're not punishing them. You're just maintaining the expectation. Usually they take the taste because they're hungry. But if they still refuse, you simply clear the plate when the meal is over. No anger, no lecture. The lesson happens when they feel hungry later, not during the fight now. Let me give you realistic expectations. Days 1 to 3, testing phase. Your child might skip a meal or eat very little. This is normal and not dangerous. They're learning the new rules and testing whether you'll cave. Don't cave. Days 4 to 7, first shift. They'll start eating more at meals because they're genuinely hungry. Weeks 2-3, battles decrease. This starts to feel easier. Weeks 4-6, new normal. This becomes your default. Everything you've been doing until now, you were doing it because you care. You just didn't have all the information. And now, you do. You're not teaching them to eat in this moment. You're teaching them a life skill. You're teaching them that hunger is normal and manageable, that new foods become familiar with time, that meals are predictable and safe. Appetite, structure, and gentle exposure will do the heavy lifting. Your job is just to stay consistent and trust the process. Take a breath. You've got this.